Well, welcome to the Botanical Medicine Study course with me, Stephanie Georgieff, your host and instructor for the online class in all things botanical medicine. If you would like to be the first on your blog to know most of what is available in terms of practice, science, and application of botanical medicine, click link below, which is the combo word for click and link, and you will be directed to a form which has the link to download the introductory video and handouts. A special thanks to new subscribers and all of you who comment, like, and share these videos. It really does help to spread the word. I used to work for this wonderful company called Pharmaca, and it was an integrative pharmacy. It was such a great job for me to have, mainly because I could see the supplement market on an individual in-person basis. Something that I found interesting was that the two top-selling genres, so to speak, were natural sleep aids and also anything to do with brain function. So you can always see what people are thinking about or what they consider challenges for their health by what supplements they are buying. One of the consistent members of the top 10 bestsellers in the herbal supplement market is Ginkgo biloba. So for this week's Herb of the Week, we're going to explore this ancient plant and its healing properties. Ginkgo biloba, commonly known as ginkgo, is also known as maidenhair tree. And this tree is a species of gymnosperm and is native to China. It's the last living species in the order of Ginkgolas, which first appeared over 290 million years ago. Ginkgo biloba is a living fossil, and what stories they would have to tell, I'm sure. Fossils, very similar to the living species belonging to the genus Ginkgo, extend back to the Middle Jurassic period, approximately 170 million years ago. The tree was cultivated in early human history and remains a commonly adored addition to public parks as well as private gardens. Ginkgos are really large trees, and they can reach the height of 20 to 35 meters or 66 to 115 feet, with some specimens in China being over 50 meters or 165 feet. The tree has an angular crown and a long, somewhat erratic branches, and is usually deep-rooted and resistant to wind and snow damage. This is why it's such a popular tree. And the leaves are unique among seed plants because they're fan-shaped with veins that radiate out into a leaf blade and sometimes bifurcating. Ginkgos are prized for their autumn foliage, which is a beautiful deep saffron yellow, and ginkgo has long been cultivated in China, and it's common in the southern third of the country of China. Some planted trees, these ginkgo trees, and they're at temples, and some of them at these temples are over 1,500 years old. The first record of Europeans encountering ginkgo is in 1690, and this is when Westerners were going to Japanese temple gardens, and the tree was seen by German botanist Engelbert Kampfer. Now, ginkgo has been commonly cultivated in North America for about 200 years and in Europe for close to 300. Now, in the town near my village in Bulgaria, we have some very large ginkgo trees, which are all golden yellow in the fall. And they are really pretty, to be sure. Many intentionally planted ginkgos are male cultivars because male trees will not produce the fragrant fruits. And we had a female tree in our yard in the house where I grew up, and we called the fruit poop berries for a very valid reason. This is a hardy species, and obviously it could survive for hundreds of millions of years. Extreme examples of ginkgo's tenacity can actually be seen in Hiroshima, Japan, where 6 trees growing within half a mile to a mile away from the 1945 atomic bomb explosion were among the few living beings in the area to survive the blast. Now, they got charred, but they bounced back and became healthy again. These trees are still standing to this day. Now, Ginkgo biloba has been used as a traditional medicinal plant for over 2,000 years in China. And it's only been used in the West since 1965 because of German use. And while the US was avoiding anything communist, Germany was researching things like acupuncture and Chinese herbal medicine. So they're very far ahead of us in terms of technology, research, and study of these things. And ginkgo is currently grown in Europe, Asia, Argentina, North America, and New Zealand. Now, the main difference between the traditional use of ginkgo is that for thousands of years, the Chinese used the seeds from the berries. And I'm not sure how or why, but the leaves were introduced into the German pharmacopoeia in the mid-1960s. The seeds and the leaves do very different things. In fact, the leaves are used in traditional Chinese medicine, but not often. The entries in the herbals is very, very brief, but for different reasons that they're used in Western herbalism. Now, in Chinese medicine, the seeds of the berries are called bai guo. They're sweet, bitter, astringent, neutral, slightly toxic. They enter the lung and kidney meridians and are used to expel phlegm, stop wheezing, and to stop cough with copious sputum. And these seeds eliminate damp and stop discharge, which is really good for leukorrhea. And they help to relieve urinary frequency and incontinence. But caution, this herb is toxic and should not be taken in large doses or long term. Consult your acupuncturist before use. And do not use this herb if you're pregnant because it could cause a miscarriage. Now, the leaves in Chinese medicine are called yin guo ye. They're sweet, bitter, astringent, and neutral. They enter the lung meridian, they astringe the lung, they calm wheezing and stop pain. They relieve chest depression and pain, and the modern use is for cardiovascular and cerebrovascular issues. Now, the modern use and the modern understanding of the medicinal actions of ginkgo, it's an anti-inflammatory. And the big one is a vasodilator, and that's why it can lower blood pressure because it opens up your vessels, your blood vessels. And it's also, because of its vasodilator properties, it's very good for brain health because it does cross the brain-blood barrier and it dilates your blood vessels in your brain, which means your brain is getting more oxygen, and brains like oxygen. It's a relaxant, it's a digestive bitter, and it's a uterine stimulant. So don't take it if you're pregnant. Even if you don't want to be pregnant, it's not a good idea to take this if you're pregnant. So the primary actions of ginkgo are to increase blood supply and stop platelets from sticking, those little sticky things in your blood. And ginkgo improves brain function. They also, in the research, there's some studies that suggest it does good for glaucoma. It prevents macular degeneration, and it also helps with Raynaud's disease. And Raynaud's disease is this interesting autoimmune thing where people, the slightest breeze will make their fingers turn blue. And this tends to help people with that problem for obvious reasons. Now, the chemicals in ginkgo have been well studied, and the big ones are the ginkgolides and the bilbolide. And apparently these are responsible for the brain enhancing properties. So that's what that's about. And Alzheimer's disease is affecting large portions of the population. And sadly, it's not only the elderly. Now, if you have a relative or a loved one that has suffered from this disease, it is the bane of modern life. It really is a tragic, horrible experience. And I have had two friends whose spouses developed Alzheimer's in their late 40s. So it's not just an old person's disease. And there are numerous reasons for the onslaught of this issue, and developments are being made in terms of effective pharmaceuticals. And there for a while, Ginkgo was thought to be the wonder herb to prevent or even treat Alzheimer's. But what researchers found was that Ginkgo could halt or slow the progression, but not reverse it or cure the problem. So for those of us not dealing with Alzheimer's in our own brains, what Ginkgo does is it causes vasodilation in the brain, which means more blood and oxygen to the brain. And if the brain is getting adequate oxygen, it functions optimally. Now, clinically, I have used Ginkgo with people who have hypertension because of its vasodilator properties. And I've also used it successfully for people who suffer from asthma, and also because it's a vasodilator and it's good for the lungs. I find that it works really well when you combine it with other herbs. Now, in traditional Chinese medicine, herbs are rarely used in single prescriptions. They are mostly used in formulas, and they are specific for each person. And an acupuncturist will prescribe such things specifically with ginkgo seeds. I've never seen ginkgo seeds like over the counter. I've never seen that. Now, you can take ginkgo in tablet form as a tincture or a tea, and you can use either the bulk dried leaves or powdered. And that's a wonderful way to get a really good dose, is to use the powdered leaf and add it to water, sort of like instant tea or coffee. But personally, I think it's best to take it in capsule or tablet form, as the dosage is more standard and it's a higher dose than what you would get from both a tincture or the tea. Now, Ginkgo can potentiate certain drugs, and it's not for infants or children. It's not for pregnant women or nursing mothers. Please don't use this if you suffer from epilepsy or seizures, because it may make your condition worse. And do not take with, and this list is quite long, okay, antidepressants, blood pressure medications, anticonvulsant drugs, blood thinners, blood sugar medications, Advil, Motrin, diuretics, or Xanax. So that is quite a list of drugs. And what you need to know is that you really need to consult your physician and pharmacist, along with an experienced herbalist or a naturopath, before taking ginkgo, especially if you have certain medical conditions or you're on prescription medications. It's never a good idea to go off of prescription medications cold turkey. Please don't do that. You can have rebound things that are extraordinarily unpleasant. One of the most irritating questions I'm constantly asked about botanical medicine is, does it work? And the snarky part of me wants to say, no, it does not work. I've spent years of education, thousands of dollars on school and continuing education for a paradigm that's been practiced since the dawn of time. No, it doesn't work. And again, that's my sarcastic, snarky answer. Herbs are very powerful substances. They are gifts, but they are also to be respected, and you need to know what you're doing and pay attention. Ginkgos are lovely, amazing trees, but they are not easy, meaning they make quite a bit of mess when shedding their leaves, and you need to make sure you're up to the smelly fruit. And if not, you need to make sure you get a male tree. You need to consult an arborist, and an arborist is a gardener for trees, to see if your yard or garden is ideal for this incredible tree. And you need to know, even if you get a male tree, you're going to be raking up lots of beautiful yellow leaves in the fall. There's a link in the program notes on everything you would need to know to embark on a ginkgo journey. I've never personally planted one of these, but I have lived and worked in places where there was this tree, and I really enjoyed it. Now, ginkgo is a living fossil. It's literally been around since the time of the dinosaurs and apparently survived Noah's flood and nuclear bombs. Maybe this is why it is such a powerful healing substance and why it has promising use for Alzheimer's. And it's just been around for a while. So, however you wish to incorporate this beautiful gift from nature in your garden or as part of your wellness plan, as long as you're not on certain medications or pregnant or nursing, ginkgo is a plant worth knowing. So, this is Stephanie Georgia saying thank you so much for spending your valuable time with me. If you would like a free introductory video for the online botanical medicine course, link below. You'll be directed on how to download that. And until next time, be well.